Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically tearing up the old rulebook. If you've ever had that feeling, that gut feeling that the traditional path to success is, well, broken, then this is the framework you've been waiting for. So let's just dive right in, shall we? We are unpacking a brand new playbook for a world where, let's be honest, the old rules for success, they just don't work anymore. The game has totally changed, and that means our strategy, your strategy, has to change right along with it. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We've broken it down into 3 core pillars. First up, we're talking about mindset, specifically how to end lazy learning. Then we'll get into the method, which is all about getting access to the experts. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the mission, redefining your future in this crazy new economy. All right, pillar 1, the mindset. And this is all about ending lazy learning. Look, everything, and I mean everything, starts with a personal commitment. It's that moment where you decide to stop just passively scrolling through feeds and actually start doing the hard work to understand what's really going on. And this quote really hits home. Don't be lazy in things that are important. This whole idea came from a really powerful real-world moment. The guy behind this playbook saw this viral clip, right? Some video claiming Bitcoin was a big conspiracy. And his first instinct? The lazy one. He just wanted to text a friend and get a quick answer. But then he stopped himself. Instead of outsourcing his own brain, he followed this exact process you see here. And this, right here, is the critical difference between just knowing about something and truly understanding it. He literally turned a 1-hour video into a 4-hour deep dive, pausing, dissecting every single claim, and actually filling in his own knowledge gaps. That's the work. So here's the bottom line. It's pretty simple, actually. You absolutely cannot build a successful future on a foundation of Instagram Reels. It just won't work. So you have to ask yourself, are you a passive consumer, just letting information wash over you? Or are you an active investigator? Because believe me, one makes you a target and the other makes you formidable. Okay, so now we're moving on to pillar 2, the method. This is about accessing the inaccessible. Once you've committed to that deep, active learning, you need a way to, accelerate your progress. And the key, the real secret sauce, is getting access to people who are already miles ahead of you, people who are where you want to be. And that brings us to this concept, pay to play. Look, let's be real for a second. The most valuable networks, the most game-changing advice, it's rarely free. To get into those rooms where the real decisions are being made, you have to be willing to invest. You have to be willing to pay to play. And here's a perfect real-world example of what I'm talking about. $1,300. That's what a media company paid for just 1 hour, a 1-hour consultation with the executive producer behind Patrick Bet-David's podcast, which is, one of the biggest in the world. And let me tell you, that single investment paid off big time. And look at the kind of takeaways they got for that money. This is not the generic stuff you find in a blog post. This is a custom-tailored education for their specific business. Just getting clarity on something as simple as using YouTube Shorts to drive subscribers, not revenue, that one piece of advice could save them literally years of wasted time and money. That is the power of paying for access. Okay, on to our final pillar, the mission. This is about redefining your future. So you've got the mindset down, you've got the method, but you might be thinking, what's the big rush? Well, this is the why. The mission is to truly understand the harsh new economic reality we're all facing. Because this, right here, is why those first 2 pillars are not just nice-to-haves. They are absolutely essential. Just look at this number for a second. 59%. That is how much more young Australians feel they'll need for retirement compared to just 2 years ago. Think about that. The goalposts for what a comfortable retirement even means are moving so fast that the amount you thought you needed to save is probably already obsolete. And this chart, it tells the story perfectly. You can see the sharp rise in what people think they need every year in retirement. These expectations are just skyrocketing. And what that's doing is creating this massive, growing gap between the dream of retirement and the actual reality for millions and millions of people. And it gets even crazier. 1 in 3 millennials now expect they'll still have a mortgage when they retire. And with things like 45-year mortgages now being seriously discussed, we're talking about a literal lifetime of debt. The classic dream of owning your home free and clear, for a whole generation, that's being replaced by a massive, lifelong financial burden. So all of this forces us to ask a really tough, maybe even uncomfortable question. Is owning your home still the best path to wealth? I mean, really think about it. Does it still make sense to tie up all of your capital in a single-family home, an asset you have to pay for with after-tax dollars, in this new economy? Is that really the smartest move anymore? So, what's the answer? It comes down to simplifying your focus to the things you can actually control. You can't control inflation or interest rates, but you have three powerful levers right at your fingertips: how you earn, how you spend, and how you save and invest. And this is where it all comes together. To pull these levers effectively, you need that deep learning mindset to find new ways to earn, and you need that expert access to learn how to save and invest a whole lot smarter. So here it is. The playbook is on the table. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to personal responsibility. The old rules are gone, for sure, but there's a new playbook right here for anyone who's willing to do the work. The tools, the strategies, they're all available. So the only real question left is, will you do the work?